You're watching Extras from the Extension on Eagle Community Television. This show is brought to you by Caraco Implement.
Well, we're about halfway through the winter season, and you might think that there's not a whole lot you can do out in the yard or landscape at this time of year, but that's not true. We're getting into the end of February, early March here, and this is the prime time to be out pruning your deciduous trees and shrubs. So by deciduous, I mean trees and shrubs that lose their leaves during the winter months. And this is a great time of year to do this simply because you can actually see the branching structure of the tree. You can see what's there, don't have a lot of leaves, covering your view of those branches. And so you can get out this time of year and remove those branches that maybe are damaged or crossing over one another or just need to be removed to help thin out that tree and make it a healthier tree. Now we have lots of different tools that we can use for pruning. Certainly if you have smaller branches or maybe on a shrub, just a simple hand pruner is fine to use, maybe on branches that are up to a ½ inch. Anything bigger than that might be a little bit difficult to prune with something like this, but this certainly can be used for those small little branches. When you get into a little bit bigger, you can use loppers. Once again, these bypass type loppers that kind of slice are best. Sometimes you'll see the anvil kind that kind of slam together two hard metal pieces. That's actually harder on your branches because it crushes that tissue instead of slicing through it. And so if you can use the bypass type pruners, that's actually a better thing for your pruning cuts. If you have some branches that are just a little bit bigger, you can go on to a hand saw or pruning saw like this, for those bigger than an inch, but maybe not so big that you couldn't handle it with one of these. And then if you have really large branches to remove, you can get big pruning saws. And these are nice because they cut on the push and the pull. So you don't have the same effect as if you would use a carpenter saw, which only cuts one direction. These saws are nice for your larger limbs, unless you have someone come or you have a chainsaw that you can use. This is something that I use in my job to take pine wilt tree samples and things like that to send off for testing. So it comes in really handy, and I wouldn't think that you would use one that often, but when you have one, it really is nice to have. Now when you're looking at a tree and we're talking about pruning, there are right ways and wrong ways to prune. And I guess the biggest thing is please avoid leaving stubs. So when you go to remove a branch, and let's see if we can find a little one here, you want to look for that branch bark collar. So actually it'd be easier just to look at an old pruning cut because you can really see this very easily. This cut here was not too bad. This ridge right here is the branch bark ridge. This is where you want to cut to. So it looks like there's just a little bit of a raised area here, but that's actually a good thing. You want that to be there because that is where the tree will start to heal over very quickly. If you leave a big stub, maybe leave this out an inch or two, then that's an area where the tree just doesn't heal. It is an area for decay to set in or insects or disease. And so the tree has a harder time healing over. So when you prune, you want to make sure and cut back to a major branch or to another branch, and then cut back just to where that is a slightly raised ridge. And when you end up finishing your cutting or pruning wound, it should look like a circle. Sometimes you'll see wounds on trees that are very oval shape or elongated, and that's a sign that maybe that was too close to the trunk or too close to that branch. It's what's called a flush cut, and that's harder for that tree to heal over as well. So you want to make sure and have nice round circles when you finish removing that branch. Now when you go to prune a tree and you're looking to see what to remove, it's really a matter of opinion in a lot of cases, but the first thing you want to do is look for branches that maybe are damaged. So there are certainly branches that have some wounds, maybe they had some insect damage or the branch is dead. Go ahead and remove those types of branches. If you have this is a crabapple, and so we want it to be nice and open to allow more sunlight in. You want to make sure and remove anything that's going straight up in the air or crossing over another branch, maybe rubbing together in the wind. All of those things can create some damage, which could in turn create a little bit of stress or a place for disease to enter or something like that. So there's a lot of details when it comes to pruning. So if you have any questions, certainly you can contact your local extension office. We have a publication specifically on pruning and how to go about doing that if you're interested in learning more.
You're watching Extras from the Extension on Eagle Community Television. This show is brought to you by Carico Implement.
Fall is here, and it's a great time to come out and visit Carico Implement in Hayes for all of your fall lawn care needs. We stock and sell a full line of John Deere riding lawn equipment, along with Honda walk-behind mowers and generators. We also offer a full lineup of Steel outdoor power products. If your project requires even more muscle, come check out the lineup of John Deere compacts, tractors, and skid loaders. And don't forget, we have the parts and services to keep you up and running for whatever your fall lawn care needs are. So come and visit Carico Implement for a solution that fits.